this is going to be the video that I promised you guys in my last try-on haul, talking about my streak of bad luck I've been having lately. Here's the baby. I know you haven't really gotten like a good view of her lately in my videos, but she's not even facing the camera, so there's that. She's been having skin allergies lately. I ordered her some stuff for that, but it hasn't come in the mail yet. I think Monday. So I didn't write anything down, so I'm gonna have to like remember this by memory. How else would I remember it? I don't know. But so it all started when a few weeks ago I got my bowling balls stolen from my yard. So why do you have bowling balls in your yard? I had been landscaping my little mulched, my little, what do you call that, like garden, my little plant area in front of my patio. You know how people put like bricks around it, or like what are those things called whenever it's like a little divider between your grass and your little landscape? You know, I was doing it with bowling balls, and it was cool. It looked really cool, like in the trashiest way possible, but also like whimsical and fun. And I got the idea from some lady like a couple miles down in like a nicer area, and I told her I was gonna steal the idea, but I was like, don't worry, I live in a dead-end street and like not a nice neighborhood, and your house is way cuter, so yours is still gonna look a lot better. And I was like, how'd you get all these bowling balls? And she was like, oh, just over the years. I don't know about you, but I don't randomly just acquire a bunch of bowling balls over the years. But I started looking for them at like different thrift stores and stuff like that, and it was really hard to find ones that didn't cost like, thrift stores will try to sell bowling balls for like 15 bucks a pop. I'm like, that's nuts. Like an old bowling ball that nobody's like gonna use, has somebody's name on it, it's like a specific weight, it's like custom. Anyway, so I was acquiring them. Some of them cost like 10 bucks. Some of them, and that's pricey for me because I need like 30 to do my whole thing, like at least. So anyway, ramble. 3 of them, at least 3. I can't tell because I didn't really finish it off at the one end. At least 3 were stolen from my yard whenever I had like a really long day, like working and running errands and stuff. I get home, it's not even like completely dark yet, and they had just stolen my bowling balls from my yard. And a bunch of them had like cracked and stuff from the sun, which is fine because I just use them for landscaping. They didn't take those ones. They took like the only good ones, and some bowling balls are worth like 100 bucks. There was one that was really cool, which of course they took. It had like a dragon on it underneath clear resin. That was worth like 100 bucks, but those idiots probably didn't realize that it's 100 bucks undrilled, and this one was drilled. Anyway, they took it. I felt really violated. They also took this little plaque that I had sitting in my landscape area that said, it looked like really official. It was brass, and it said, at this point, in this spot, in 1883, nothing happened. I thought it was funny. Apparently they thought it was funny too because they stole it. And like, come on, like, people stealing from stores and stuff, like, it's not right. Like, I wouldn't, like, whenever I was a teenager, a little bit of a sticky finger klepto phase at like Walmarts and stuff, I feel like we all, maybe not us all, just me, degeneracy, but stealing like from a person, I feel like it's worse. I mean, both are bad, but stealing from a person, I feel like it's worse because this one person is just like, they feel violated. You're stealing something that they bought with their hard-earned money that maybe they can't really replace, and it also makes them feel unsafe, so that sucked. So anyway, after that, I had a friend at the time that was nice enough to install security cameras around my house, which I should have gotten from the first moment I moved here because it's like not the best area, but I didn't. Now I do. They're really good. I get 24-hour alerts to my phone and my watch, and it's really good. Anyway, he was installing the cameras, and then my neighbors started calling him all kinds of slurs that I can't say on YouTube, and basically saying, oh, well, nobody asked her to move here, she shouldn't have moved here if she was going to get cameras, like, all this stuff. Like, I needed cameras because people were stealing stuff from my yard. Like, it's not pointing at your house, like, it's not pointing, like, even on the public street, really. It's just pointing, like, in my yard and around all my entry points and stuff like that. Anyway, so that was messed up. So then every time he would come over, like, they would, like, laugh hysterically at him and just, like, watch me and, like, stare at me and just, like, make me feel really uncomfortable. And they were, like, trying to intimidate me and us and, like, anybody that was over here because they didn't like that I put up cameras. Anyway, a couple days later, after I put up the cameras, I got an alert. I was in bed sleeping. The alert buzzed. I looked at it, and my neighbors were, like, people from that house that was... Have I sworn in this video? I feel like I'm talking very casually. If I've sworn, I'm gonna have to rewatch this and edit that out. Anyway, so they were in my yard, this man and, like, 2 little kids, and they were picking fruit from my loquat tree. It's Japanese plums. Anyway, so first of all, I don't want people on my property in general. I don't know how most people feel about that. I feel like they wouldn't like it if I was randomly on their property, because my tree is, like, up in my yard a little bit of a ways. Anyway, I had to, like, my hair was up in, like, a crazy messy bun. I wasn't wearing a bra. Like, I had to, like, situate myself, like, a little bit because I just rolled out of bed. And by the time I got outside, he already had, like, a couple, like, handfuls of my fruits and stuff. And my boss makes wine out of loquats, and I wanted to let her harvest my tree this year, and then I'd get, like, a bottle of wine out of it. So I came out, Moo came out with me, because it's her yard, and she's allowed to be in her yard. And the guy's, like, accusing me of, he's like, oh, well, your dog better not come near me, like, your dog better not bite me. I'm like, it's her yard, dude. And I was like, what you doing? Like, what are you doing? He's like, I, like, tried knocking on your door, which, like, he knocked for 2 seconds, like, but then, like, went straight to the tree and started taking stuff. Like, if you don't have permission, plus I was, like, I just rolled out of bed and stuff. He's like, it seems like you waited until I, like, had fruit in my hands to, like, come catch me and then, like, try to, like, sick your dog on me and stuff. And I was like, no, I was just in bed. I had to get my stuff together. And then he's like, he didn't say sorry. He didn't say, oh, do you want these back? But I was like, okay, just future reference. You can take, because I have a sugar apple tree in the front too. So this is a very long story to say, like, one part of my bad luck. But anyway, you guys say that you like my rambles, so I'm gonna keep rambling. Fast forward if this is boring. I was like, future reference though, like, being extra nice, because, like, I don't want any drama. I was like, whenever my sugar apple tree fruits, you guys can have as many of those as you want, because I'm not doing anything with them. And I ate a bunch whenever I first, like, the first summer that they came in, and I got sick of them. And it was like, you can have as many of those as you want. He's like, well, there's none there right now. I was like, no, it's like late summer when they come in, but future reference. I was like, if you ever want anybody to watch your kids, like, I was being, like, overly nice. I have a problem with this, because then people don't take me seriously. Anyway, I was like, well, while you're over here, I just wanted to let you know that my friend who was installing the cameras, like, he heard y'all talking about the cameras over there, but I didn't say, like, talking S-H-I-T, or, like, you said this word or that, or I didn't say any of that. I was just like, just so you guys know, they're not pointed at your house, they're not for you, it's just because I've had stuff stolen. And then he, like, twisted my words around and tried to make it sound like I was saying that he stole, or that, and then he's like, well, if people are stealing from you around here, it's gotta be for a reason. What reason? You shouldn't just have lovely bowling balls in your yard? I mind my own business. I'm the only one in the neighborhood who doesn't blast my music, who just, like, keeps themselves, and everybody's out of mine. But yeah, so that was really uncomfortable. I shook his hand a couple times, but the whole, like, interaction, like, he tried to, like, turn everything around and make me the bad guy for letting him take my fruit. And anyway, so that was annoying. And then after that, it didn't get any better. They kept, like, verbally harassing and like staring down like every guest that I've had over since. And it's very complicated because I share this stupid drainage easement with them that I got yelled at by the city last year for not mowing, which I didn't know that I was supposed to mow it. Like I don't even know if I got my property surveyed whenever this is my first house. Like I had no idea that I owned that easement and that it was my responsibility to mow it. But anyway, that'll come up later. But everybody uses it as an alleyway. Everybody dumps their trash on it, dumps their furniture on it, walks through it, parks on it, like, and I can't put up like no trespassing things because I share it with that guy and I know he's not gonna like want to work with me on anything. So it's very complicated. And whenever I did mow it after I got yelled at for it, he still did not like mow his side at all. Like doesn't care if the city gives him fines, I guess. I don't think they even bother them. I think they just bother me. Anyway, next thing. My TV died. And I've gotten my TVs for free, which is kind of cool, but they're older TVs, not the nicest, not smart TVs or anything like that. My TV died, and then one of my realtors, I had this like realtor like lockbox thing that was worth like about what a used TV would be like on offer or whatever. He's like, oh, I have this TV like that I'm not using, that I haven't used in like forever, like you can totally come have it. And I had to go pick up the TV, trade this lock for him. I brought the TV home, took down both of my TVs in here that like are like wall mounted and everything, and like swapped the one out for the other one, and then like reran all the cords behind everything, and like had to find like special bolts for the TV mount of the one that he gave me and all that. I should have plugged it in. Before I did all that, because it's dead. Doesn't work. Doesn't power on. No little indicator light. Nothing. Doesn't work at all. And I'm not that like TV repair savvy or anything like that. So that happened. So that's still like sitting in my living room. I don't know, maybe somebody will want it for free and they can like try to fix it, because it's like an LG. I feel like LG stuff, am I crazy? But does LG stuff like just stop working a lot? Like people think it's a really reputable company, but like I've had like an AC, like a window AC just stop working. That totally just, like, I don't really trust LG stuff anymore. Look, you can see her little head in the mirror at least. Your little face. Okay, so after all that, I still haven't gotten a new TV. Now he says he's gonna get it to replace his other TV, and then he's gonna give me that one that he was just using. I was supposed to pick it up today, but then he's like, no, I'm busy. So I'm not. At work, a couple weeks ago, I was parked right in front of a security camera. But I'm still not staring at the camera all day. Like, we get customers and stuff. And I get a phone call from my boss's husband, who had a friend drive by the shop, and they're like, your door is wide open on your car. Which is weird because I always close it and I always lock it. So I had to wait for my customer to like leave and everything, and then I went out to check it out, and my GPS and my brand new pair of prescription glasses were stolen out of my car. I don't know how they got in it. Windows weren't broken or anything, luckily. But I keep dinging because this must be my tablet. Anyway, they must have been really quick. I'm lucky that they didn't steal my tire inflator, because I need that, because my one tire, the wheel is like warped, I think. Like the tire doesn't have holes, but like the wheel is warped, so it loses air like all the time, and I have to top it off all the time. Because used cars and car parts and stuff are like really crazy expensive right now. I have a 2003 Cavalier that's all rusty because it lived up north for most of its life. and I'm riding it till the wheels fall off, and they just might. So anyway, the GPS, it's like, it was an old GPS, like the back part that attaches to the mount is broken off, and like all of that. And where was I going with this? Yeah, like if they try to like pawn it or whatever, which I'm assuming that they would probably do, they're not gonna get anything for it. But I was still using it, and I would have used it until it was completely dead. So that was like a big bummer, because I'm very directionally challenged. Like even places that I go like thrifting often and stuff, I still need a GPS to get to them. And I can't use my phone as a GPS because I have a $15 a month phone plan with like 4 gigs of data, and if I used data for GPS, it would like eat all of that up. So that, and then the glasses, were they just like, oh, these look cool because it's definitely not their prescription, like what are the odds? Like I use those for driving at night, and that sucks. Glasses are expensive, and it was like a big production to go get them, and like everything like that, so that sucked. And by the time my boss went to look at the security footage, it had already been over a week, so they couldn't even see who did it. My coworker actually had his bike wheel stolen in the same spot like a couple weeks after I had that happen, so great. But they did see who stole his. Not like we'll probably ever like catch up to him or anything. So then after that, I'm trying to think of like what sequence everything was happening, so this might not be like totally in order. So that easement that I was telling you about earlier that I have to mow, and I don't want to get big fines from the city and stuff, and I have to do it all by myself and everything, I got some Roundup on Amazon. That stuff will give you cancer, I hear, but I wore like gloves and like a mask, but then I didn't wear a mask because like the wind wasn't really blowing. I had to wait for like weeks to find like a good opportunity to spray the easement with Roundup, because I'd just rather kill everything and not have to mow it and not have to be close to those neighbors who harass me all the time. Finally found like a low wind chill day where there wasn't a bunch of people at their house gawking at me, and I went out and did it. It was like heavy. It took a long time. My arms were so sore and shaky like the next couple days because I don't work out and it's a problem. Sprayed it. It was a lot of work. And how Roundup works, I mean, I'm sure some of you guys know better than I do because it's the first time I ever used it. It like has to soak in through the leaves, and then it has to make its way down to the roots, and sometimes you have to wait like up to 2 weeks for it to start working because it has to make its way all the way down to the roots to mess with the growing cycle and kill the plant. Well, I finally did it, but then the city came and mowed the easement without telling me, which in one way is kind of a good thing, but like I don't know if they're going to keep doing that or if they're going to charge me. I never got an official notice in the mail or anything. If y'all know how that works, I know it's not like your county or whatever, like don't they have to give you a notice before they like fine you for stuff or charge you for them mowing it? Either way, all that Roundup that I used and all that effort is going to be for nothing because it didn't have enough time to make it down to the roots, and all that stuff is still happy as a clam over there. And then what else happened? Oh, I was driving home from, we'll say this part. This is kind of petty, but I was at work, and you have to empty the trash cans in the front of the building, which is like a public trash can, like pretty gross, and then replace the bag. Well, the bag, like whoever put the bag in from the night before didn't, it like ripped, and they didn't get a new one, and they just like let it in there, so it fell in there, and then people kept throwing all of their nasty like liquid and food and little like foam toe separators from the nail salon next door and all this really gross stuff in there, and it's like bolted to the ground, and I had to like, all we had was these little gloves, but I needed ones that went on my whole arm, and I didn't have a hair tie, so I had to like reach in there, and it was the grossest. Even with the gloves, it was so gross because you could like feel all the smushy like decaying, like, and I had to keep reaching and then putting it in a bag like physically, and it was so disgusting. Like I almost threw up, and I'm not normally a squeamish person. Like I've been elbow deep in corpses before for school and stuff, but that was really gross. I mean, that's not a big deal, but it was really gross. And then that night, I was driving home from work at like midnight. Do you hear her snorking? I was driving home from work at like midnight, and my car started making this like crazy like grinding, dragging sound. So it sounded like something was dragging underneath my car. So I stopped it and I got out and I looked underneath it, and like I couldn't see anything. And then I got back in, I kept driving it. It was doing it again, but it only does it whenever like you're accelerating at least like 15 miles an hour, and not when you're braking or anything like that. So a lot of people on my Instagram said that they thought it was my wheel bearings. Anyway, luckily my boss and her husband are cool. Oh, and her husband's friend. They've been like coming around ever since like I started having problems with those neighbors, and they've been like just like showing their presence on my property and trying to be like, she's got people here, you know. So it's really nice that they're doing that. Anyway, so I don't have like a dad here or anything, so I texted my boss's husband. I was like, hey, you know, I have to be in to work tomorrow and my car's making this crazy noise. And he knows like a little bit about cars, but not a ton. So he came and he looked underneath and he's like, oh, you're, because I thought that it was my transmission. I was going to need to buy an expensive used car, which I can't really do that right now. But where am I going with this? He's like, oh, your sway bar, little things that keep the sway bar attached, I forget what they're called. They're like completely rusted through. Like the one is completely gone on the one side. He's like, this is what could be causing the noise. So he went and got the parts and he replaced them in like 10 minutes, and I paid him for the parts and everything. Which like at least I only had to pay for the parts, because I know like mechanics, especially around here, will gouge you. That was really nice. And then it stopped making the noise, which is weird because a lot of people, like, you guys let me know if you've listened this far, if you know anything about like cars and stuff, and if that could have been the issue, because it did stop, but it was already gone the next day whenever we went for a test drive before he fixed that. Anyway, it's been a couple weeks since not making the noise, so thank goodness. So that's kind of lucky, unlucky. But then I was out at the bar last Sunday with two girls from Bumble BFF, because it's hard to make girlfriends as an adult, and I still don't have a lot. So the Bumble BFF is like a part of, like, Bumble's like a dating app, but there's like a BFF part where guys can use it too, but usually girls just go to like meet like platonic, like other friends that are girls. And usually the girls that I match up with on there like end up being like really dry, really boring, really like valley girly, and like I'm not vibing with it. Met up with two that night. The one was kind of shy and reserved but nice, and the one was wild. But I actually liked both of them, which was nice in theory. It would have been nice. Yeah, my phone got stolen out of my purse at the bar, which is why I'm filming on a borrowed iPhone 6S right now. But my phone was only an 8, so it was like old. Like it doesn't have like a lot of value anymore. It's all scratched up and stuff. But again, just like the GPS, I was still using it. And I was gonna ride it till the wheels fall off. I had just got the battery replaced a couple months earlier. Oh, and because I couldn't get a new SIM card to use my friend let me borrow his old iPhone 6S that he had lying around. Because I couldn't get a new SIM card for like a week because I use Mint Mobile. Ooh, if you guys want a way to help me out and for you guys to get cheap cell phone service, if you're a cheapskate like me, I can put my referral link for Mint Mobile down below. But Mint Mobile is a prepaid cell phone plan that runs off of T-Mobile's towers. Ryan Reynolds owns it, which is weird, but yeah, you basically pay like $15 a month for the whole year, so it's like $200 a month or something, like, I mean $200 a year or something, and you just pay it, and then you get 4 gigs for that and unlimited talk and text, obviously, and the service is pretty good as long as you're like not way out in the boonies. But if you get good T-Mobile, you'll get good Mint service too. But they also have like their top tier plan with unlimited data for $30 a month. Shameless plug. But anyway, if you lose your phone and you don't have a backup replacement SIM, you gotta wait a couple days for them to send you one, because you can't just like walk into a store and get a new one. So because I didn't have it for like a week, remember how I said I actually liked both of those girls that I hung out with on Bumble BFF that night? I couldn't get a hold of them because I couldn't log back into my Snapchat, and I couldn't text people that didn't have iPhones from my iPad. So I got blocked. I got blocked because the one girl thought that I was ignoring her for days, but really my phone was just stolen. So that kind of sucks. I'll make friends eventually. Anyway, so that got stolen right out of my purse because I had it in this bar and then it was gone. And I like wouldn't have dropped it. Like it's not the type of purse where it just would have like fallen out. And I like whenever I drink, I don't get like incoherent at all. Like people usually can't even tell that I'm drunk. I'm very boring. So anyway, I didn't notice until I got home, and then like reported it lost on Find My iPhone, all of that. And then the next day, so on Find My iPhone, you can like set it to show a number when the person who stole it like turns on the phone and say text this number. So they texted my friend's number and they were like, Cash App for $150 if you want your phone back. Because normally they would probably just like ship it to somebody that can wipe phones, but the phone itself isn't worth that much. It's probably was worth like $150 like max on like eBay or something. But they wanted me to pay them $150 just for them being nice enough to not steal my phone forever. But they were a dumbass. And they used their real phone number. It takes 2 seconds to get a fake phone number, by the way. They used their real phone number and their last name that matched their phone number when you look it up on Google is in their Cash App name. So I reported it to the police because that is bullshit. I would never steal from a person. Never. I have found so many phones. I found cash on the floor at bars, and I always look for the most trustworthy looking like bartender, and I'm like, hey, I found this. If anybody says that they dropped cash, like, please give it back to them. Or if it's a phone or a credit card ID, always make sure like that somebody's that's working gets it so that nobody takes it, because I know what it feels like whenever your stuff is taken. So anyway, we were like communicating with this thief before the cops got involved. Another side note that I forgot to add in the other parts of the video is that the day after my phone was stolen and I was like working with the cops and like doing all that stuff, I was the most hungover than I've been in like a long time. And I don't even think I drank that much. I did mix different types, but yeah, I threw up twice, a lot, while trying to get all the phone thing figured out and being without my technology. I know, first world problems. And I burned my throat so bad whenever I did throw up that I couldn't eat anything like crunchy or spicy for a few days. Yeah, and I couldn't keep any food down. It was miserable. And we were like, hey, we can't just Cash App you, because what's stopping you from just taking the money and not giving me my phone back? Like, obviously you're just gonna take the money, so we've got cash, just to see if we could get them to meet up in person. But they're like, no, they're like, I don't even want the phone, I have a newer iPhone, so, but no, you can't have it, have a nice day. Anyway, I could put her name on blast because I have it, but I won't do that on YouTube. But anyway, the cops called me, and like a detective is trying to bust this lady, and I hope that he does. He's like, do you want to press charges? I'm like, yeah, she needs to like learn from what she's doing. And the fact that she was like so like rude over text and stuff too. So the reason that the cops are so into this is because apparently there is a phone theft pickpocketing ring like going on really heavy in my area right now. And the bar that I was at that night is one of the specific places that they've been hitting hard. So I was like the only person to actually like get the name of one of the people and all of that stuff. So they're actually like making a big effort, but she hasn't turned the phone on again since she asked for the Cash App thing. But they said if she deposits it in one of those like phone depositing boxes at Walmart that gives you like $5 back, which is $5. You have to use an ID and everything, and even if she borrows an ID, my IMEI will show up in the phone collection database and I'll get it back that way. But it really sucks because I had been, oh, FedEx guy, what are you doing? I had been putting off taking a bunch of pictures for eBay listings for a while because I had been covering at my other job a lot and trying to fix up the house to get my PMI removed and like working on like a million different things. So a few days before my phone was stolen, I spent like hours. Moosh. It's okay, it's just the FedEx guy. I spent like hours in my backyard. My neighbors are like blasting. So I play like little music on this little speaker, but like a respectable volume, like every once in a while when I'm taking pictures of stuff in the backyard to make it more like bearable. And if I would put my music on at all, they would extra blast their music so that I couldn't listen to mine. But I was just like ignoring it, you know, whatever. Just living my best life, listening to happy music. It took hours because I had a lot that was like backed up that I had to take pictures of. All of that was on my phone that got stolen, and I hadn't had a chance to actually list the stuff on eBay yet because at my job that I've been covering at a lot, we keep getting toy orders to put away. It's an adult toy store. We keep getting toy orders to put away, which is a really long, tedious task, and normally I would just work on my eBay listings when I'm sitting at work whenever it's dead, but the people that are supposed to put away the toy orders don't work on the days they kept showing up because they kept showing up early, so I had to do it. So I didn't have my phone backed up because I don't pay for the cloud. Now I learned that Google will save 15 gigabytes of photos for free. So I've already started backing stuff up because I don't want this to ever happen to me again. Sorry, I have like eye boogies. So anyway, lost all of that work, which is the worst part of the whole thing. So now I gotta drag all that stuff back out and take pictures of that stuff all over again and hope that it's not a windy day, because if I'm like taking pictures of like a sheet, like a vintage sheets or like something like that, they blow all over the place and it's very tedious because you have to take like 10 pictures of each and you have to like put the measuring tape next to it and do all this stuff. Anyway, so now I have to do all of that all over again. And I had other details that went along with that, I feel. Working on the house, yeah, we got to that already. Oh, I finally got my attic insulated. This house had never had any insulation in the attic, which is wild. Finally got my attic insulated, and they did it wrong. They didn't put bats of insulation because it's blown in. They didn't put bats over my attic access inside, so whenever I try to open it, all this insulation just falls down everywhere. So they were supposed to come today and fix that mistake, but their office apparently isn't even open on Saturday, so I don't know why they made the appointment with me, and I don't know if they're just ditching because they didn't give me a ballpark time or like what's going on, but I already paid for it. So what's really making them want to do it anyway? But yeah, I feel like there are probably other things that have happened that I'm forgetting about. If I'm forgetting about anything, I will mention it on my next try-on haul or thereafter. But it's just wild because like I know like everybody has like crappy luck every once in a while, but this has all been like in like a 2-month period or something, and it's just like one thing after another after another after another, and it's not fun. It's not a good time, cause and then also like eBay's been like, the shippers have been really rough with packages and just breaking stuff that have tons and tons of layer of like wrap around. So that's really frustrating too, and then I'm out money for that a lot of the time too if they don't pay out on the insurance. But yeah, a lot of people say like bad luck happens in 3s, but mine's been happening in like 20s. And oh, so this psychic came into my side job a couple weeks ago, and he like was very aggressive. He's like a Sikh, you know, the Sikhs with the turbans and stuff, and he was like, I'm gonna tell you your fortune. And I was like, okay, I don't know. I was like working, so I couldn't really get away because I was like at the front desk, and he came in and he was like talking to me, and then he like tried to get money out of me afterwards. And I was like, dude, I like never said that I had money. Like, this is when all this stuff's going on, so like I don't have a bunch of extra money because my money's going to like replace things that get stolen or repair things, and just a lot. So he was really pissed that I didn't give him money for that. But what he told me was, I have had a voodoo curse put on me by a woman who is jealous of me for one reason or another. And he said that my luck would start looking up on the 27th of April. And that I'm going to meet the love of my life on September 9th of this year. Cap. I don't. You know, I've been thinking lately that I may be like, I don't like all these like fancy terms for stuff because I think people are just trying to sound special, but I feel like I might be kind of like aromantic and asexual because I don't really have like these feelings that a lot of people do. Like, I've been single for 6 years and I just don't like get the feels, you know? Which is okay. Sometimes it'd be like that, but then whenever like everything's hitting the fan like it has been lately, you don't really have like help, and it's kind of sucky. But strong, independent woman. Everything will get better. It's been getting better. I mean, it's cool that like the detective thinks that he can find the phone thief. Like, that's cool. I mean, I doubt I'm gonna get it back. She probably smashed it by now, or just threw it out because she knows the detectives are after her. They keep banging down her door, but she's not answering it. But yeah, so today I was supposed to pick up, yeah, did I tell you guys I was supposed to pick up that TV? Not doing that. I was also supposed to get the installation thing fixed. Not doing that, I guess. I gotta do some painting. I gotta finish painting my laundry room where I had to repair the entire door frame because of termite damage. Those are friggin' rough in Florida. So I'm gonna finish like painting and sealing all that up, I think. Maybe I'll do like a little Shein haul, try on haul that I have waiting, and then I'll upload that a couple days after this probably. But yeah, it's been fun. You are a real MVP if you listened to that entire thing. But yeah, I would love to hear any of your input on any of that advice. Has anything like any of those things ever happened to you, kind of thing? Because I do read all of your comments. The reason that I never respond to comments, I feel like I've been over this before. It's actually because I'm a people pleaser, which that causes a lot of problems for me actually. But if I respond to one comment and then I don't respond to every single comment, I'm gonna feel like it looks extra like mean. I'm gonna feel like it's extra rude to everybody that I didn't respond to. So I almost feel like it's better to respond to nobody because then nobody feels like especially left out. But just know that I'm reading all of them and I really appreciate y'all. But yeah, the question of the day is, have you ever had anything stolen from you? What was it? Does it make you feel shitty? I mean, obviously it doesn't feel good, but like, just so I don't feel like I'm alone in this. Or have you ever had like a streak of bad luck where like one thing after one thing after one thing bad keeps happening to you and it's like very frustrating? Just let me know. Let me know. I'm not sure when I'll put this up, but guess it doesn't matter because you'll see it when you see it, but it's technically Saturday when I'm filming this, so I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, week, everything, and I wish you nothing but the luckiest, best luck, and no voodoo curses for the rest of your days. Love ya. Oh, also, I'm on medication. It's called Buspirone. Been on it for a few months. It's an anti-anxiolytic. It targets one neurotransmitter in your brain and helps with like anxiety, panic disorder. If you guys remember that video that I had a couple years ago where I was like crying on camera talking about like how much it's a struggle, like chest pains, feel like I'm dying all the time. The general consensus at this point is that I have panic disorder. So Buspirone is a very like mild medication, doesn't have a lot of side effects, it's not addictive or anything like that. Anyway, works, helps. I think it helps. I still have issues, but it's not as crazy and intense. Issue is though that it gives me crazy like seborrheic dermatitis in my scalp. And I used to be able to go a week without washing my hair, which is healthier for it if you keep it long like I do. And then right after I wash it, it gets really frizzy anyway, so I prefer to go longer without washing it. I get these giant, like this big, like no lie, like flakes, even though my hair's clean. I've been washing it a lot more often lately. And then like red and like itchy and just like scabs and just like, and I looked it up and that is like one side effect that is pretty common with Buspirone. So that really sucks. So I've been like weaning off of it. I had a doctor's appointment. For it that I waited a month for, and I went in to talk about like my scalp and like what's going on and like if I should taper off the medicine or whatever. And the doctor's office like switched like management or whatever, but my doctor still works there, and they just canceled my appointment without telling me. And I went in, they're like, oops, and now I have to wait like another 6 months to go talk about that. So that was kind of annoying too. I remembered that, and then I am inserting it in the video because that all happened in this time frame, and my scalp is still a nightmare. And I've been using lots of like very like prescription strength like medicated like shampoos and stuff, and nothing helps. And whenever it's bad, like it's very obvious because my hair is so dark.